Hi there. So this is the third video of the series, and this is talking about the positions of the political parties. And what we're looking at is the based on the ideas from the work of John Eichert, who is the economist and agricultural specialist, who's wrote several books on sustainable agriculture. So we're interested in policies that would really help small farmers and authentic farmers and move away from the market controlled, highly consolidated corporate farm structure that is prevalent today. So we're going to look at the political parties, and we're going to look for policies to stop subsidizing these corporate conglomerates and the corporate takeover of agriculture, and policies that support the small farmers, especially looking for basic income would be one of the initiatives that John Eichert would like to see. Of course, Conservative Party is continually in trouble with environmentalists for the moves that they make. One of the things that Conservatives do talk about a little bit is this Manitoba Heritage Corporation, but it's really just spending a little bit of money because it's only the income on the 154 million, and it is used for some good initiatives, but it really is a drop in the bucket. And I would show you, for every area that's being recovered, there's many more acres of property that, trees and things that are being removed. Especially, I see this all the time in my area. More and more intensive farming, smaller and smaller, less hedgerows, less and less forest, even in the few years that I own my property. The other thing I wanted to look at briefly too was what government programs are available currently. From what I've been able to find, there are loans available, but there really isn't anything in terms of like a basic income for small farmers. They're more targeted to specialized areas. It's really hard to find any specific programs that are currently available unless you actually put all the inputs in. So I couldn't really find that. I did, related to our previous things, I did find that there is some funding available for air exhaust scrubbers, 25% up to 100,000 with a cap of 5,000. A lot of these programs are things that you can apply for, but the money's already gone, or there wasn't much available. There's a barn odor reduction, and there's also liquid manure storage cover. Well, so the Conservatives, as I said, they have the reputation well earned of being supporting corporate agriculture. The NDP, I did send them a letter, and I got a letter back talking about the things that I wanted, and the NDP was replying about all the different parts of, like Bill 19, the Conservatives, and how they fought against it. And we're fighting Palliser on changes to environmental protection. They're also, the NDP is pretty interested in enforcing shelter belts and manure management, adding levies for manure injection. So there's much more interest on the NDP part in reviewing environmental planning and processes and protecting the environment, is a shelter belts, that kind of thing. And they're also interested in some of my suggestions on odor. So the Liberals do talk about a number of things, but you can't find anything specific to manure management and nothing about small farms' basic income. There really isn't any description about stopping or reduced subsidies to large corporations either. So I'm not finding anything in that in there. There is some better policies in terms of their attention to greenhouse gas, but they haven't really figured, again, it goes back to my whole theory here that Manitoba being Canada's largest hog exporter, and we're doing 1.5 billion in hogs, and anywhere from 85, 90, as much as 95% of these hogs are exported. The actual hogs themselves, only about 40% are exported, but of the pork that's processed in Manitoba, most of that is exported as well. So we're producing all this pork, and we have the environmental impact from it, and we're doing that to make money. We don't need it for Manitobans. We don't even need it for Canadians. It's excess purely for the point of making money. So in that case, should we be encouraging this? Should we be subsidizing it? And again, it would probably be all right if we could do it environmentally friendly. And we don't really know. And that's one thing that you're going to find as you look into it. So the Liberals have a mixed message, because on the provincial side they're very interested, but nothing specific to the areas that I'm concerned about. They also seem to be missing some points, like in terms of the actual, when they talk about the greenhouse gases from agriculture, they talk about like diesel fuel. Well, it's nothing. The main part of greenhouse gases from agriculture is what happens with the manure when it's put in the soil. And that's a pretty confused topic. It's hard to get good research on that. I looked around, this is an article from Nature, and it says we need more research. It all depends on the situation. You can try to find as much as you can, but I think the fact that there's so many pigs, right, and it produces, even not including what goes into the soil, there's tons of greenhouse gases that are produced. We need to understand this better if we're going to be continuing to expand our hog industry. And of course the Conservatives have publicly stated they want to increase the hog industry quite seriously. Liberals, they also want to increase the exports. And I get that from the Eco Journal, and this is an article here by Glenn Koroluk, talking about the Liberal policy. This is a federal Liberal policy to reduce regulations, and that worked in conjunction with our provincial government. So here's his article from June of 2018, and it goes into detail about how the goal is to increase agricultural food exports. Well, as I mentioned before, John Eichert, the agricultural economist that is our mentor and the person that we really believe in, myself especially, would say that that's probably not a good strategy. Agriculture is probably not the best place for intensive encouragement of exports. Agriculture is so socially connected to the community that using it, nothing wrong with exports, but it has to be done in a sustainable way. All the environmental problems that come, like land use shift to more intensive cropland, exposure of pasture and grasslands, increased methane, nitric oxide, hydrogen sulfide, which is the one for me, and ammonia emissions, increased herbicide use, increased tilling, drainage, increased water use, increased chemical fertilizers. All these things come from encouraging agricultural exports instead of working towards a policy of not subsidizing these exports. So that's the Liberal Party, a little confused there. They haven't really figured it out. NDP, Conservative. So that just leaves really the Green Party, which is not, a serious party yet in terms of percentage of the population that are going to vote for them, but they have some great ideas in that they're a little ahead of their time. They want a basic income, which again is the fundamental thing that small, like young people that want to get into farming, or anyone that wants to do a mixed farming, sustainable, ecologically responsible type of policy would need your management policies and more research. So, I guess the Green Party is the closest to me, but next would be the Liberals, or sorry, the NDP, and followed by the Liberals provincially, especially, but more confused and definitely not in tune with what I feel federally. And last, of course, the Conservatives, which are, completely on the wrong path.